Okay, hello again everybody and welcome. It's me, Wushu Richard, here with another talk video. And I've just woken up, so please excuse me if I seem a little bit zombified. Yeah, a few things then on my mind. In today's video, I want to talk to you about um, technology. Technology, basically. Um, I've recently talked about AI and my thoughts on AI, but this is about technology. In this video, I'm going to talk about technology and this human tracking and things like that. And it's all interconnected with AI, artificial intelligence, and connecting like the idea that they want to connect human beings, gradually integrate human beings more and more with technology, which is very scary and freaky in my mind. I think it's insane, and they're trying to destroy the human. Okay, and I've been watching a lot of videos now. Hold your horses and your donkeys for a moment, okay? As in, calm down. Hold on a second. You may know, or you may have heard of a guy named David Icke. Okay, David Icke. I've watched a lot of his videos, and I advise people. It's up to you. I mean, to watch his videos and listen to. I do advise people to watch David Icke's videos, especially some of his long talk videos. If you have time now, he talks a lot about our world and where we're heading, basically, with technology and what it seems to be like, these hidden agendas and the evil that controls what we believe to be the world around us. But there's a like higher power in the elites. Um, it's of course it's a full of question marks, but what is really controlling us as a human race, and basically dragging our carcasses to hell unless we wake up soon. Now, when he speaks of, like, sometimes you'll hear him talking about stuff that is so hard to fathom and accept. Like, a lot of people have laughed at him over the years, and people have ridiculed him, put him down, and seen him nothing more as a joke, because he speaks about there being reptilian entities and other beings which are controlling humans. But look, regardless of that, though, okay, regardless of just shutting him down and saying, because he says something like that, or there's something, why should we listen to the rest of the bullshit, which is the attitude that a lot of people would say. There are actually a lot of people that see truth in what he is saying. It's just like anything in life, really. You may hear someone speak something that uh, maybe maybe almost totally unacceptable, unbelievable, um, but it doesn't mean you should shut off everything else. I believe ignorance is a big problem. It's about information and what we do with it. So, no, information technology. But let's get back to the main thing. Okay, the topic then. Why am I'm just bringing this topic up because I watched another one of his talks the other day, around an hour or so. The talk was, and it was very, very fascinating. And it really does open your mind. I mean, wow, there's lots of crazy stuff out there. I mean, people believing in, when I say crazy, I mean lots of ideas out there, I'll say, whether they're right or wrong. There's people that believe the world is still flat. There's people that believe, there's people that believe that we are being watched from the moon. The moon is like a secret base where the higher powers watch down on us and control our world from below. It's all kind of crazy ideas, and I think that was actually a scene in the movie, The Truman Show. Also, The Truman Show talks about a lot of stuff, conspiracies or whatever you call it. Where we are literally being, we're just like in this made up fake world that we believe is real, and we're being controlled, and people are being played off each other and played against each other. But anyway, this is not what this video is about. Okay, in this video, I'm just talking about another thing about this, because one thing that I've found is I mean, obviously you got quantum physics, you got all this science, and science does talk about this stuff to some degree, but what I want to say is David Icke. Okay, David Icke is one of these people that believe or talk about this a lot, and the idea of the idea and the quite possible, very possible, fact basically, the fact that nothing is solid, okay, as in what we feel as solid, the world around us, what we believe to be, based on our physical human state, that we know what is a solid, a liquid, a gas, whatever, the way I'd see that is those are all basically a form of solidness in various states, right? You could argue that everything and nothing is, like I always say, everything is nothing and nothing is everything, but I'm not getting philosophical here, I'm trying to get real to the point, right? So, hard evidence, so to speak, in a fluid language, but it's like, the idea that everything is not solid as we see it and as we interpret it through our physical state and our five senses only as a human being, and you've got to think how limited that is when we're just this, we are just this, this human entity in the whole vast universe. Another good question, which finally was brought up on the news the other day. I saw an image. They were saying, "Oh, what is the universe expanding into?" And I was like, "Finally, these motherfuckers! Someone's asked. Excuse my language, but somebody's asked a question, because this is what I'm trying to say to people. People talking about the Big Bang. Okay, where did the Big Bang happen? It happened somewhere in a space of sort, in a vacuum, or in something, right? And where is it expanding into also from the outside? This is the thing, right? And how vast is that on the outside? You know what I mean? So, but that again, speaking from a human mind, we can only have concepts which are basically related to our experiences in knowing reality from the five senses that we've got, right? Seemingly, right? So we will think about things about big, small, and time, when something starts and finishes. But anyway, let's go back to what I'm saying, right? People talking about thinking they're going to understand the workings of the universe and how the universe works. So we're understanding more now, and is it ever more or less? But it's like, especially when you make so many mistakes too. But it's like, the thing is, as a human being, we're never going to know everything about everything, because it would never be. Not only is it so vast, the everything and evermore, but the thing is, we're just human beings. So the only thing that we can learn basically is the things that we will. It's like a very strange philosophical thing I could say here. The only things we can learn are only the things we can interpret. It's not like there's something there. It's like there's a fact there. There are facts like gravity, or there's a mountain in front of you. Yes, reality is there, and you learn it, and you know this. This is a fact. But it's just kind of like what I said when I said everything is nothing and nothing is everything. Like, it's true, but it's not true at the same time. It's like all knowledge, whatever we learn, it be mathematics or how things seem to be certain rules or whatever it is, everything. We only learn what we can interpret. And interpretation is us working with our minds based off of how we interpret the reality, based off of only our five senses, the experience in life. And then talking about humanity and other humans who have also got five senses, all of us, throughout the years. and generations, and we think we've got this long history as human beings on the planet. Heck, you know, dinosaurs might not have had much more ability than us, more or less. You know, more, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, so it's like saying, how many ways can a tree or a leaf experience this world? You know, it doesn't have vision. It doesn't have a leaf, a tree leaf. Yeah, a leaf on a tree. It doesn't have eyes. It doesn't have a nose. Can it smell or can it communicate with the world? And people may argue differently about that. It can breathe as such. Does it feel pain? Things like this. We're trying to communicate. We're trying to work things out on our level. But the thing is, can it eat? You see what I'm trying to say? It doesn't have the same senses. Can it hear? It doesn't have the same senses. And another reason it doesn't have the same senses, well, another reason different living organisms have, maybe you could argue, different amounts and different senses and different levels, is because of its physical state. We have hearing a bit, let's say hearing, okay, or vision, sight. These are two human senses. All of it is taste, feeling, smell, whatever. But let's say that the reason why is because we have these machines, these ears and these eyes or whatever, that have been made a certain way, that have actually manufactured, if you like, however that is, whether you say it's God-given or aliens created it or whatever, or just developed by nature, whatever you say, you know, science. But they've formed the shape, you know. You know what I mean? It's like you are made. It's like you've had it just came into being in this shape. That this thing works as it does. It's like, can you imagine? A garden, of musical instruments where suddenly from nature grows a drum kit. Well, those drum kits were made, and now people can use them as drums, or say, oh, and here we have another plant or another flower growing. It's the guitar flower. And that's very workable, right? It grows into the shape of a fucking musical instrument. Excuse me, you know, a trumpet or a horn or whatever the fuck, and that can carry sound the same way as wind or water might be. You know, say wind might be gushing through a cove. What do they call that? A rocky cliff or something. A cave. It's a cave, and you may hear the sound of certain different sounds, you know, or echoing through a cave, or something falls down a stone, and you can hear the echoes. Same thing. It's just a shape. So we're a shape of what we call matter. Some motherfuckers walking around like antimatter, but I'm just saying that it doesn't matter a bit. But we're just walking around like a state of matter, these entities, but we see it as the physical, but it's more than the physical. It's what actually makes up the physical. And I'm still not on the topic yet, so hold on. The topic I want to bring up here is a topic, and I'm really happy to bring it up. Is what David Icke mentioned, and David Icke mentioned that, and he does mention this a lot, where I've used the word energy because I don't know what kind of word to use. But when you say the word energy, that can also be confusing because the word energy is like an energy, a charge, an energy which charge is like to for something, like to do something. But I'm not talking about that or a purpose, be it deliberately ideological, idea-driven purpose, or just a purpose of its natural being and the way things are, like gravity. But I'm saying I just use the word energy to just cover the whole thing. What do you call it? Ethos, but the whole thing, you know. But what I'm trying to say is ethos, but energy. But the thing is, David Icke talks about it as in frequencies. You could just say that's the way we measure certain things, but still though, he's talking about the same or similar kind of thing what I'm talking to. Frequencies of whatever this is, these waves of energy or whatever, that make up the whole universe and beyond, whatever. Okay. So when David Icke talks about frequencies of like what create what we see as the world or the universe around us, and what we see as solids, liquids, gases, and solids, and matter, and what we see as the world around us, visible light and whatever. We are just in one kind of reality where these frequencies and such frequencies, the oceans of frequency and such, are tuned into a certain way. And when he talks about certain things, he goes really deep, and he talks about like stuff which is unbelievably crazy to fathom and understand. About like, he talks about other beings and aliens, like or a reptilian or whatever. Forget what the fuck it is, but he's talking about other beings much more advanced than us, which are which are living or existing outside of our frequency. So that's why he said sometimes when people say they've seen a ghost, or they've seen a UFO, or they've seen something, a ghost or an alien or a UFO, something they can't explain, that's what it is. There's something where these extraterrestrial, these beings on the outside are able to come through, or certain things are able to come and go at will. So they see a UFO flying through the sky and it just disappears, or somebody walking through a wall. And he was trying to talk about that as well. But I'm not talking about paranormal and sci-fi, or or aliens or anything like that right now. Okay, I'm not talking about any of that. But I'm saying that it's the idea, though, of these frequencies of energy. Because if we are made up of on these bands of energy, as such as I call it, and these frequencies as such, regardless of if there are multiple versions of this whole ocean of all of it, which contains, I believe, variations of different frequencies. If you're with me on that, anyone, or David Icke, if you're watching, because it would be very interesting to have a talk with some of these people. There's a few people that I would like to talk to in the world, scientist people. I mean, especially any of the big known scientists, but I like that Neil deGrasse Tyson guy. But I'm just saying, Richard Dawkins, of course, not because his name's Richard like me. Richard Dawkins and that other guy he's with a lot of the time. But Richard Dawkins though, and then as I say, oh my God, David Icke is another guy. But yeah, there's a lot of things I'd like to talk about with these people. Now let's get on to this thing about. So let's see. So we're living in these frequencies supposedly, but David Icke's saying that the idea is that such could be that there's beings outside of this whole thing that we perceive as our reality, solid reality, solid reality. And we're busy in our little world like guinea pigs, like cheering for our favourite teams, countries at war, technology, who's the next president, politics, sports, entertainment. In our little world, we're running around and protesting for this, marching for that, group against group, and just running around the latest fashion, whatever it is. And we don't see the bigger picture, that we're being controlled, and more they're trying to outdo the human, dumb down the human by integrating them with technology eventually, so they can take over your mind and connect your brain to basically AI or the cloud, where you don't have any control over your thought anymore. People, it's like a drug almost. They're taking people into such a state where they're so addicted to technology, they take you into a world where you don't need to give a fuck about reality anymore, and you can see it all over the world anyway. I mean, the violence rate amongst human beings, and just it's quite scary really what's going on in the world. But still, still though, excuse me. This is what I'm saying. Now, they're talking about certain things, human tracking, which I was saying about human tracking. So they want to put chips in human beings and things, which I think is fucking disgusting. Now, a lot of people are. It's already happened to some people, and they're using it in certain ways. But they're saying though that while there's a lot of good sides to technology, there's also terrible sides. Okay, and the thing is, right, a lot of people are like upset. They don't want that, because they don't want to be tracked, to feel like Big Brother's watching. They're always being watched and tracked like that. But that's not the thing with me even as much. The thing with me is I just think it's disgusting to cut your body open and put a chip in, even if it's a small one, in your brain. That's just disgusting. That's terrifying, I think. Terrifying for what it is, but also terrifying to actually do such a disgusting thing. Put a chip in a fucking brain. Cut your head open and put a chip in your brain. That's fucking disgusting, man. It's not on. I would definitely not agree to that willingly, But anyway, going back to what I'm saying, it doesn't bear thinking of. So, but what I'm saying, okay, let's get to this thing, okay. I've got a final point I want to say in this video. We can talk more about this stuff, as I say. But yeah, okay. So, the energy, let's say these frequencies that everything's on, where everything's, if you go cut down to the fine, it's frequencies, let's say, that make up this reality that we see and perceive around us through our five senses. Fuck, man, you wonder if there are beings on the outside who are so smart, why the hell should they want to control us? Maybe they created us and easy to destroy us, but it's some kind of game. You could call them godly, whatever, but still, I'm just saying though, we have these five senses which just so happen to be able to perceive such a reality. But I'm going to get onto the point in a moment, okay? These frequencies that make up this reality, that what we see, you could say that we're trapped in this bubble. Let's say, for example, like a pet in a cage. Get a pet in a cage, any kind of animal in a cage, or in a zoo. Let's say a zoo where there's there's, let's say, a monkey or gorilla in the zoo, where there could be a pool of water. There could be trees and a land area with fruit and things, and it feels like it's in a natural habitat somewhat, but it was born in the zoo, and it's got bars around the outside. It's a cage and thick glass, and it lives in there. And its reality was created artificially by some kind of intelligence, right? By human beings. And it's sad, whatever it is, but and the animals living in there. Now, okay, so that's that. So that's similar to what we're supposedly like. That's what it's like. We're here. It's like a fish. Easier analogy would be a fish in a goldfish bowl, a fish in an aquarium. Okay, it's not really free in the ocean. It's not really in a river. So that's what they're saying. It's like human beings are living in a habitat now. Human beings living in a habitat which we can perceive through our five senses as being reality, as what it is. Okay, and then we make up all that other bullshit, technology and stuff. Well, we make up whatever we see around us, because we're not living in just in forests and nature, are we, right now? We're in this and that. Now the thing is, what I want to say, and that the thing I want to say, and that is we're here in this, and supposedly on the outside of this, whoever created or is tuning these frequencies so that we can exist, so to speak, so it can play God knows what games with us, and goodness knows why. Because what kind of mind would an entity like that have, someone with such power? You're talking about whether it's aliens, reptilians, whatever you want to call it, an advanced form of AI, cloud, robotic, whatever the fuck, intelligence, or some other being, or God or aliens, whatever it is, but this thing on the outside. What kind of mind? We can't say, right? You wouldn't say you can have the same mind because we've just got simple human intelligence. From what we know from our five simple senses. In that's like saying, that's like a goldfish trying to work out the mind of a human being. It could never fathom even the idea of trying to work it out, you know? Or something even, a plankton, something small, a little tadpole. It just can't, right? So people talking about trying to have the mind of God and stuff, you wouldn't be able to, right? Right? So what I'm trying to say is, what I'm basically trying to say is, not only the mind, right, but the actual whole being itself, the being outside, or the being that is controlling these frequencies for us to live in, like we're in the goldfish bowl, we're in basically. Okay, and it changes the water as it wants and feeds us whatever it does, and keeps us alive or kills us, right? Right, and changes the coloured stones and whatever, right? So it's so this being up there, or these beings, supposedly this advanced race, or whatever. I'm just saying, whatever you call it, this is what David Icke's trying to say. My point is, what I want to say is that on the outside, in another realm, so to speak, that's also made up of frequencies or something, right? Also, so when I'm talking about frequencies and stuff, I'm not talking about you got to. I am talking about covering everything, and this is what's so unbelievable. It's like, this is the thing. This is the most incredible, amazing thing, I think. Life's just incredible. Life's amazing to us anyway. We can't that. It's like it's a dream. It's just incredible for us. Brilliant. But the thing is, though, when it comes to reality, we can't imagine, let's say, time and space being infinitely, like, can you imagine nothing? Can you imagine never? It's always a kind of forever, and it always goes on, and we can't imagine there being an end. If you travelled through space and through the universes beyond the universes, you can't imagine a final end, because even if there was a wall, if you came to a wall, there'd be nothing behind that, and that would be a space, or that would be a solid thing which goes on forever. So you can never picture the true end to anything. There's always something more, like the answers and the questions sort of thing, Or you can never imagine there being something and that's it. You see, I'm trying to say, it's like it goes on forever, regardless of if it's something or nothing. And the very fact that it seems like it can never be, can never be. If that sounds so strange, right? It's paradoxical type of riddle. There's this crazy stuff, and the thing is that, as we've already said before, still knowing that we are such simple beings in the universe with our five senses, just like the goldfish, or worse, in a smaller. We literally have such a simple outlook on everything, and we're not going to understand anything anyway, because we're just beings. We think we're beings, and we think we're solid, but actually we are just frequency waves of energy that create what we think is a being, a human being here, or a dog, or a monkey, or a hippo. We are literally just humans. We think we're this because we've grown in such a way that we've grown ears and we've grown eyes, and that pick up various frequencies such as light and sound. What's that? That's even more simple, And taste. That's just how things work. You see what I'm saying? Chemicals, and still how you taste the juicy beef burger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? How we feel pain or heat or hot or cold, temperatures on our skin, things like the smell. That's because we have a nose that grew like this. You know. If you had radars growing out of your head, you'd pick up different frequencies. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we are just that. We are not actually that even. All of this stuff's made up of atoms, whatever you call it, tiny neutrons and photons and what do you call that? You know what I mean? It's just tiny, tiny frequencies of just energy in the universe, basically. You know what I mean? Quantum physics, it's tiny, tiny the frequencies basically that's flowing around, and that's the whole basic thing. We see things breaking down, like the body dies and then it rots away, or trees and things, and things grow and die and come into being and give birth. Things changing, the seasons, even the temperature, everything, right? The weather and all of that, how the water, the precipitation as it goes into the sky comes back down as rain. When you boil water, it turns into gas. But all of this stuff is just on a chemical level. That's a solid level still. You're not going down to the actual, you would never get down to the smallest, you may say, but it's like the frequencies of where if you were to look on that frequency, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It would just be totally just everywhere and everything. Like, you wouldn't see any of the shapes of what we see. It's like looking at a code, like the Matrix, just like the Matrix. Where you see like numbers all on the screen, or like little dots, or O's and ones, like the internet, or code. It's not actually. It's just coding. Like game coding for a computer game. There's no actual visible imagery of castles and monsters. You don't see anything. It's just codes for like a computer game, just numbers and language. You see, so, but not actually numbers though and language. That's that language what we make, like numbers and letters. No, this is actually a physical, as such, kind of thing, if you want to call it that, physical, spiritual, whatever it is. So there's the frequencies. It's an incredible mad thing. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is so that we have these frequencies, that we're all in these frequencies, and everything on the outside is also in frequency. So the beings on the outside of our reality, our goldfish bowl reality, so to speak, the beings that are supposedly on the outside, who are supposedly could be intervening or whatever, or controlling or making this building, they're out there, and they are also frequencies of some kind as well. That's the only way I can express this, whether it be a deeper form of frequencies or whatever, but it's frequencies. So they are made up. Now, the thing is, how can we talk about things like, you hear people talking about nature? Nature has its own intelligence as such, Mother Nature, or nature has its own intelligence, the intelligence of the universe itself. That could be said in two different ways. That could be the intelligence as in the way things are, the nature of everything, so to speak. Or you can say it has an intelligence, like it's thinking. Now this is my problem here. Thinking and ideas and emotions, but all connected. That's the mind. The mind, and the workings of a mind, is actually still a human concept. The same way as the brain is, the mind, whether you believe it's just a brain, or it's a brain with a spirit in it and a mind as such, or that even without the brain, you're a spirit of a mind. That is still, if you break that down, that's still frequency. So this entity that we are, but what I'm saying is the idea and the illusion. Again, this is kind of like what Richard Dawkins talks about sometimes, not the God delusion, but I'm saying the illusion that we're here. You know what I mean? It's like we think that there are beings on the outside, or there are other beings which have a more intelligent mind to us, that create or would try to control us. Why would they control us? Human beings want to control each other. Wolves may fight over a piece of meat. Yes, we know that we are more intelligent than various animals, but that's only because we're comparing. Other animals won't do that. And me as a human being and a wolf, we can't even start talking about some other creature that doesn't exist, because it just doesn't exist unless we know. Okay, it's smarter than the wolf, but it's not as smart as Richard. What is it? It's a Kentucky Fried chicken burger. Pigeon. What what I'm trying to say, yeah, is I mean, they say well, I'm just saying, so much. Now, yeah, there could be beings, there could be anything on the outside doing anything, and there could be beings that are more intelligent than us. But the whole thing about a mind, the whole fact that all of these frequencies that make up everything, these frequencies of energy that create, whether it's beings that have created or tuned these frequencies so that we live here, or whether it's frequencies that are just making up everything anyway. Like you can find a lot of minerals, you can find a lot of metal and things in the stone. If you're out digging in nature, you can find elements of the earth, right? Wood, metal, and things. And people create new things such as glass or plastic and rubber. We create things, right? Different kinds of plastics and stuff. Um, Okay, but that comes from what was already there. So you see, everything's still recycling and changing anyway in the universe. So people are doing that, but things are also naturally doing things too, the same way as nature works. As we've said before, things rotting and growing, and then the water precipitation and stuff. So the universe is always doing that, and things are always changing anyway in the universe and flowing around like that. Whether there's intelligence behind it or not is still working as some kind of intelligence, but it's not the mind of like how we'd think as such. Now there could be beings that did that, that are creating things in the universe, such as creating us. Could be God, there could be one God, there could be multiple, there could be aliens, you just don't know what. We can never fathom, even if we think we can understand. And the reason for that being is because we don't have the mind of the capacity of God per se. Okay, all these beings. So what I'm trying to say is, do they have a mind? Do they think like we do? Would they think that we do? Let's create some little beings and control them. And you may use any analogies you like. You could say, well, look how we create technology. Look, you were born to create, and that human beings are here. That's like I always say. That's the way I feel about it. But you could turn around and you could say, I don't know. But you could turn around and say, well, human beings create gardens, and what's the purpose? And we just want to do gardening and do things. Human beings do have an artistic, or certain things we want to do, whether it be for survival or just for pleasure. But our minds work the way they do for reasons, and our reasoning is based on our five senses, which have given us the experience of what we see as reality. Whether it is or it isn't, we're still in this form of reality, these frequencies, however they were created, purposely or however, and we're here. And we only know what we can, and we just think we're learning from our mistakes sometimes, but whatever. We're just in this bubble. We're just in this bubble that we can never pop as such, right? For we would not be here if we were to do so. We're trying to understand the Alice in Wonderland thing here and on the outside. You've got to be kidding, right? But still, it's fascinating to ponder the human mind. It's what we're always doing, no matter what we do ponder in reality. And there's beings above there, let's say, that are doing all this. Now, if there are beings up there that are doing all this, you've got to remember two things. Now, these are the two final points. So, if there are beings on the outside that are controlling all this and tuning all of this, like David Icke seems to bring up a lot of the time, is a possibility that are working with humans. Working with humans? That's like saying humans are working with ants to try to control things. Why would we want to create an ant colony, or let's say an ant, or a little, what I mean, create a little miniature world with such simple beings and let them fight against each other, and these are going to fight for the president, and who's going to be the next president, and they've got a real world, and we're watching it like a form of entertainment, or what, or for what use would it be to us also, right? And we would not know that if there could be or couldn't be, unless we are a form of, that whole existence is a form of battery, to which there could be many batteries in a packet of batteries in a factory in a world with lots of batteries. Our whole existence could be a battery. Maybe they create existence like this for a form of energy. But do you really think this could be a form of energy for another being? Would they need that? That's like saying you need certain batteries to power certain parts of the universe. Does it need to be? certain concoctions and chemicals maybe, but the thing is, we are all as one energy anyway. The thing is the idea of purpose, or the idea of the idea and thinking itself. Thinking itself is a human idea. So us thinking that is thinking, but then again we can say there's a kind of intelligence there which just works the way it does without thinking. And that is a mind. The whole thing is a mind of, so to speak, the physical mind of all being. And the point is, the mind, okay, the mind being a human idea itself, you could say, okay, because again, you can even say animals, okay, animals, we don't know for sure, and obviously animals are thinking, but would an animal have the concept, the idea of a mind? We say as human beings, we are self-aware. We are like that. That's what sets us apart from other animals, that we are self-aware, so to speak, of our existence, our being. You get an animal looking into a mirror and it doesn't immediately recognize, as such, that it's looking at itself. But I'm just saying, right, the mind, the idea that another being on the outside would have a mind, and again, we're talking on our level, like something we can fathom. It could be godly, it could be whatever, a massive, something you could never fathom. But what I'm trying to say is, now, whether it has a mind or not, with its mind or with no mind, whatever, that on the outside, these beings or whatever is outside, well, I'll say this, whatever is outside of our existence, our goldfish bowl, let's say. Okay, let's give you a very good example. We are like goldfish in a goldfish bowl, okay? We got that part straight, right? We're hungry for fish flakes. Because that's all we know. But and the best fish go to the 5-star restaurant, the fish flake restaurant. I'm just saying, we're fish. Well, listen, we're fish in one goldfish bowl. We don't know anything about the other goldfish bowls, but we're fish in a goldfish bowl. Let's say. Outside of the goldfish bowl, it's a room or a pet shop, okay? Now, outside of the room, there's this whole world, right? And then beyond that, there's the universe. So we're never, ever gonna... How much do you think a goldfish or a fucking tadpole is gonna know about the planet Neptune or the planet Pluto in the universe right now, if such a thing does exist and we're not being fooled, right? Or anything else that we've never even contemplated in our world, in our mind. So what I'm trying to say is, all of these frequencies, when you go down and you start to study what's the meaning of the universe, what's the reason, that knowledge is still, the knowledge and what we learn is only what we can interpret, and that itself, interpretation, is a human thing, concept only by our mind, which is also these frequencies of illusion. It's so unbelievable. We are an entity of frequencies. It's part of this whole universe. It's all connected. We're just frequencies. It's not that I'm sitting here and this is a wall and this is a rock and you're you. As such, if we're supposedly frequencies with different parts and different energies that make it seem like you're looking at something, you're smelling a flower, whenever you're touching something. This is like a kind of virtual reality AI itself. We're in this fully advanced thing here, and we're seeing the world around us as what we think, but we're just this energy with different receivers, so to speak. We're here, and yet, you see what I'm saying? It's like we are the frequency in the solid, in what we are. And you get this other frequency, this other thing, this mind, this, you know what I mean? Well, I would just say, like, sorry, I'm confusing myself now, but this mind, like this, so this interpretation, this learning, this, which only we can perceive. So it's basically like you've got frequency looking in the mirror, basically. Here I am, frequency, and I'm looking in the mirror trying to work myself out. It's almost like a gorilla looking in a mirror, or a chimpanzee, or a dog looking in the mirror, an animal trying to realize reality. That's the lessons of nature again. It's like we're the same. We can't see. It's like we're looking at ourselves and we will never see ourselves. Do you see that? That's crazy. You'll never see everything. Looking at yourself, you'll never see everything. Looking out into the universe, looking for yourself, you'll never find yourself because it's vast, and the further you go away from yourself, you never find yourself also. So inwardly or outwardly, or at yourself or away from yourself, you will it's like you'll always see everything and nothing, including you and entities, or no you or no entities, for as long as you're here within these five senses. And the five senses and the illusion, see, this is what it is. So we're the frequency giving ourselves an illusion. What magical sparkle in the darkness is that of a black hole on the outside of that? So we all, and as you know, and that's it. That's basically it. And it's all just frequencies of energy. So I hope this has been a fascinating talk, and I hope I've not given you a goddamn headache. Okay, I want to say thank you for watching this. I hope that's got you thinking. Okay, yeah, and where we're heading with this human tracking. I was going to say tracking to trafficking, whatever you call it, trafficking basically. Tracking human beings and putting chips in people to control people. This is another point I want to say. I've just remembered. Why would they want to track human beings? Let's say even human beings being controlled by the elites or the higher powers, and whether they're being controlled by extraterrestrial forces, who knows? But if we're being controlled on this earth, and they want to know where people are, and they want to track people, and they want to control people, and so they know where everybody is at any given time. And fair enough, you could say escaped convicts or whatever, prisoners, you could find them. You could immediately find them if they were connected to the cloud and the internet, and they got a chip in their body. But you'll probably get idiots cutting their arms off and cutting their heads off. But I'm just saying, what would be the purpose of that? Do you really believe that this world has to, without going into the deeper stuff like using the whole universe as a battery system, but do you really believe though that they have to control us? I mean, they already they don't have to put chains on you as such and drag you around. They've got people addicted to their phones and the internet and stuff anyway. They've got people where they want. People just wandering wherever they want you to go. You think you're living the way you want to live, but a lot of the time people just follow what they're giving you. They make the roads that you walk down the same, and the ones in your mind too, which take you down to look at your phone or do whatever you're doing. The latest fashion, the latest bullshit they're putting in the media. So, through the internet. So the thing is, so if once you're connected to the cloud though, and once they're actually getting more and more power over you to take over you, it's like they've given you a full sedation or given you drugs. They've put you out. They're basically murdering the human being. They didn't give a fuck about trying to win the hearts of people and your soul, and let you get on their team and try and find tactics. That's what people do. We're like kids. We're like simple little animals bickering over a piece of meat. Two wolves fighting over a piece of meat. That's all we're doing when people are trying to do politics and think, oh, that's really complicated. No, it's not. The higher beings are pretty simple. What they're doing is they've got a red hot poker spear, and they're spearing you now, saying get your ass into the cage now. That's what they're doing. They're pushing and pulling you like nothing. It's simple. They flick the bug off the tree. They crush you. They control your every move. They don't say come or go. It's programmed into you. They create you the same way as you'd make an automatic washing machine or an automatic car, for God knows what. So what it basically is, you don't see that because people are just so dumb. But if they're getting to that point, then why would they need to chip people to know where they are? Why would they need to, I know, yeah, fair enough in early stages, but ultimately they wouldn't need to. And they wouldn't even need you. Why would they need to control you also? Only if you're some use to something, but getting to the stages where human beings are being more and more, becoming more and more obsolete, right? Are you going to become food or battery fluid, they say, for robots to eat and drink? No, they wouldn't need to eat and drink. That's a human concept, you see. This is again this whole idea. It's the human mind is creating a reality, an imaginary reality that we see, and we're so hooked into that, or if not, then we're just dumb like a lot of people, and we just follow eat what we're given. We pat on the back, No, it's all bullshit basically, but whatever. It's not about control. It's control also with an intent, with an intent in the mind of control, one force controlling another, or entities controlling entities for a purpose, for greed, or for its use. That is in a way a human concept too. But the amazing thing is the idea of the frequencies, like we're all frequent, everything is just frequencies of energy. There's nothing, all of this is just an illusion. Even the outside stuff, it's all just frequencies of energy, really, that make up any beings or any solid, what we think is solid or anything. Mind or no mind, so to speak, as a mind such. But the other thing is that the amazing thing I was going to say to finish up on is the idea as a human being, we can't imagine, like I said, foreverness, like infinity, in any kind of time, space, or whatever matter, whatever. But infinity, infinitely big, infinitely small. We can't imagine never. We can't imagine nothing, forever, infinity. It's hard to fathom, and there being more, or there being more to things that we can't, in some way, picture. But the actual truth is that we are just like the goldfish. So we don't know. We can't imagine so much, else. There's stuff we just can't, right? Supposedly, but even that, we can still picture that could be. You see, so it's always you can and you can't. You always, I don't know what to say, able and not able. It's just crazy, the whole thing. You know what I mean? Think about it some more if you will. But don't think so much that it's not, affecting your life in a good way. We can think whatever we want in life, but as a human being, I guess all we can do is try and live it and enjoy it in a good way as a human being. Thanks for watching. What's suitable to us. But yeah, okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks a lot.